We often make mistakes in life that lead us to damage our eternal state and make us belong on a low level with people on our spiritual level. Oscar Wilde's book, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, and its described story, provides a very clear example of the relationship between body and spirit. Dorian Gray expresses a desire to always resemble a beautiful portrait that has been painted of him. And this portrait is a likeness of his spiritual self. His wish is granted and, throughout his life, he remains externally the same. But the portrait becomes horribly disfigured when he himself commits many crimes and atrocities. This is really an illustration of the spiritual self being invisibly deformed and changed by the actions of the physical body. Eventually, he can no longer bear the horror of the painting and tries to destroy it. But in doing so, he destroys himself. For man it is exactly the same thing. Even if we want to destroy our spiritual self, we cannot do so. Between our spiritual self, mind and body, and our physical self, mind and body, there is an interchange of energies. Being well physically makes us well spiritually, but doing bad deeds physically leads us to regress spiritually and dulls our consciousness, which grows on the basis of what we learn through our earthly life and our social behavior. Our spiritual growth and our level of the spiritual world we create with the quality of our life. And at the end of the day, who we are is what we have made of ourselves. Our physical body lives only 80 years, 100 years, but our spiritual body is eternal. This means that our life here on earth is an extremely precious time. The purpose of our life here and the reason why God created us and provided us with a whole environment on which to live, is to learn to develop our spirit by living and loving according to God's will. If we don't do that but live wrongly, we poison our spirit and deform it, and also worsen the place where we will forcibly go to live in the spiritual world. And we may even find that our spiritual life becomes worse than human. What happens at the time of death is simply that the physical body ceases to exist, but the spiritual mind and the spiritual body continue forever in the eternal world. In a sense, it is like taking off a jacket. So when we die, God and Satan do not tell us whether we can go to heaven or hell. We have already decided that based on the quality of life we have lived,